My name's Trevor Martin, and I want to thank everyone for watching this and joining us tonight. So one of the things that you may know about me is I am the CEO and founder of RMF Coaching, Refine, Move, and Forge, and I love talking about a warrior's way. And you've seen videos, on YouTube, you've seen posts on LinkedIn where I talk about specific warriors facing the arena, facing battles daily that we face in this world. And I like to make it a point to make connections with actual warriors that are walking the earth and that are just embracing the struggles that they've had in the past, using those to refine, move, and forge plans, taking action, and definitely moving forward with purpose. So tonight I have with me TJ Beaudette. And TJ, would you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. First and foremost, Trevor, thank you for having me on. It's an honor. And I think we connected a month or two ago.
Yeah,
And since then, every time I see your posts, I'm like, man, it just brightens my day. It brings that light.
I
And then
appreciate
we
that.
we start to get to know each other, and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, this is real. And in a moment of doubt, insecurity, fear, I reached out for some guidance, and you were right there. You were right there, and that means the world. So thank you for being there. Thanks for having me on. And absolutely, I'd love to. So I was born and raised in New York, and my best friend's dad was a firefighter that died in 9/11. So I was
right.
11 years old at the time, and I remember standing in front of the TV, just watching the images for hours after I got home from school. And I knew at that moment that I was going to join the military. Fast forward 10 years, graduate from college, and I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. Became an infantry officer because all I wanted to do was just carry a gun, go to Afghanistan, kill the people responsible for the pain they brought to the people that I knew.
Wow. Yeah.
And I had this idea that once I went to combat, the ultimate crucible of a life test, that I would just have this fulfillment for life. Like I would have earned my place, like a rite of passage. And, that drove me. That drove me to go through very difficult training in the Marines, drove me to become an infantry officer, got to a unit that was deploying. And so I was a 23, 24-year old in charge of 40 guys at first, and then kind of kept moving up, deployed to Afghanistan. And, I'll say this about the Marines that I served with: to be able to serve with those in this country who, at some level, are willing to serve others up to and including their life is an honor that I will always cherish. And
Mm.
there are amazing people in the Marines and the military. So, yeah, went to Afghanistan, and I found myself behind a desk, luck of the draw for the most part. And I didn't get that experience that I thought I needed to prove myself, to prove myself to others.
Yeah.
So I came back from Afghanistan, and I was like, man, I gotta try to get back there. So over the course of the next 5 years in the Marines, deployed 5 times, or deployed 2 more times, and never went back to combat. I started to get this underlying feeling that what I was looking for, I was not going to find in the Marines. I didn't know what it was. I was like, maybe this isn't it. So I transitioned out, landed a job in the corporate world, medical device sales, and it was great. Like great company, great team, great people. I was like, all right, like this is it. Served for 8 years, got that got that combat experience or combat deployment. Like guess I checked that box. Maybe now it's time to live the American dream and focus on making money and going down that path. And a year after I started at the medical device company, I enrolled in a top MBA program. Again, it's kind of like striving for something,
Yeah. Right
striving
on.
for something externally
For
and not
sure.
knowing it. And it was as though the more I accomplished, the more this underlying feeling of anxiety would increase because it's like, wait, I'm where I wanted to be, where I thought I wanted to be. Like I'm married, done with my time in the Marines, making good money. When do I get to just enjoy it? And it all kind of came to a head when I was working full time, studying 3 hours a night in an MBA program, and watching the fall of Afghanistan all over the news. What was once my life's purpose was crumbling in front of my eyes. Well, I struggled to find purpose on another path.
Right. I mean,
And I saw,
I can't imagine like that just bought and sorry, that like that just that blows my mind. And I know we've spoken about this, prior to before, but to be so focused on a purpose, going clear back to when you were talking about your main what the trigger was like at 9/11, like, hey, I'm going and I'm doing this. That's my purpose. And just laser focus on that to then just see, nope. So sorry. I mean,
no.
that's still, man, that scrambles my brain every time I hear it. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you want to know what's interesting about that, Trevor, is as I saw the images all over the news, it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't a
Huh.
surprise. When I was in Afghanistan in 2013, I started to get this underlying feeling of what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? And I didn't have a view of the whole war. So I don't pretend to
Right.
speak on all of it. Just my little piece of the pie,
Okay.
the base that we were defending, our mission. We had a Marine in our battalion killed on December 23rd in a different company, not where I was at. And because of that, we weren't able to patrol on December 25th on Christmas because it would have been too difficult for the family members to receive the news that their son or daughter was killed on Christmas. And that was the first time I was like, this is a war. Like, it's a war. What does it matter if someone dies on Christmas or December 27th? Like, I don't know. And so it was like this underlying feeling of like, that's interesting. Yet I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to like look at that,
Yeah.
and like look at that within myself and dive deep into that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so coming back to about 2 years ago now, fall of Afghanistan is all over the news, and yeah, it's just struggling with finding purpose. Like I saw the next 25 years of my life going down like the corporate path, which is a great one, and what that company does, like really good things for patients and for healthcare. Like it's a good mission. But I was just struggling to find my purpose in that. And it culminated, I was drunk one night, just asking what the point of it was. I had my AR-15 loaded, pointed at myself. Like, what am I doing here? Like, it's not making sense.
Yeah.
Um, So but that's the time period I was like, okay, I have to be honest with myself. Like I am now that guy, that veteran who's at this point. Like there's no more like trying to convince myself of a different story about what's going to make me happy, what I'm going to find in the future. It's like time to start being honest. And so that is the moment that led to self discovery, although it hasn't been a linear path of growth. It's been rocky. It's been, because I started on a journey in a different direction, not knowing what I was looking for. My ex wife and I, we separated, and so much of that is on me. I couldn't get out of my own patterns to come together in relationship. I just didn't know how.
Yeah.
So separated, I'm by myself for the first time in 8 years. Relationship with my family is like rough because like they were questioning the decision to separate. I'm worried about what's going to happen financially, what people are going to think overall about a divorce.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm sitting in an empty house. Like, holy shit. Okay. So I could go back to TJ in his early 20s, drinking, partying, or I could take a different path. Again, didn't know where it led, but I needed something different. And not to say I didn't do my fair share of like partying and stuff last year, but by and large. So I started running. One day I was like, I'm going to run 30 miles. I would have crawled. Like, I would have crawled, dude. That day is like, me and my mom got into a tense argument or a tense conversation about the way things were going. I was like, I hung up. I was like, okay, like we're running. So did that. And then like, no matter what happens, I have this. This is a foundation. So running became a foundation. And then I connected with a therapist that the first time, and I went to therapy before, but like there's something different about this therapist. The first time we met, we sat together for like 2.5 hours. And it's like, okay, this is good. This is coming together. There's trust there. And then I went on a solo camping trip, and I went back to the book, The Power of Now, which is about the power of the present moment, meditation, being here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not being in our thoughts that are in the past or the future, being right here. And I had this moment on my first solo camping trip where I was sitting in the grass and I was trying to slow my mind and meditate. And I was like, it was almost like I was motivated to slow it in a way that like I know people can meditate. Why can't I do this? Why can't I figure this out? And it took hours of sitting in the grass. And finally, I started to feel the energy in my body. And then I would come back to my thoughts. And it'd be like, my thoughts would be like, go watch TV in the tiny home Airbnb I was in. Go, go drive to town, just go grab dinner. And I was like, nope, sit in this discomfort and keep letting it come back. So feeling the energy in my body and then feeling that energy merge with nature around me. And I had this moment where it happened. And I opened my eyes and I just looked out and there was mountains and trees in the distance. And I had like tears coming down my eyes. And in that moment, it just made so much sense. It's like, wow, it's already perfect. Everything's perfect right here. And I've been raised Roman Catholic. I was even baptized as an adult. In that moment, everything I learned about Jesus made more sense. It just made more sense. Um, so I came back from that trip and I kind of went back to normal life. I went back to working and kind of the ups and downs. I moved to Dallas and kind of it was like a fresh start there. Met people, still going out and stuff. Yet now I know that there's more. I don't know what it is, but I know there's more depth to me.
Right on.
Fast forward another 8 months to this past December, and I'd gotten out of another relationship that I was in, kind of still repeating the same pattern. So like, it's like, okay, why am I doing this? I don't know. There's pain here. So I
Yeah.
went camping again, this time in Big Bend in Texas. And I went there because I Googled the best night sky in Texas.
That's a
Said
hell of
Big
a
Bend.
Google, brother.
Yeah, man. That was yeah, it's just like that's where I'm going. I'd been considering doing an ayahuasca retreat to Peru.
Right on.
Yeah. It felt rushed. So I was like, I'll just go camping for 5 days.
I mean,
Like there's some work that has to be done.
hey, I get it.
So I went out there and again I got out there and I was like, I don't want to be here. No one gives a shit if you're here or not. Like just go get a hotel and drive home tomorrow. And I was like, no, you will stay here until you run a certain amount of miles. So, all
Back to
right,
your foundation.
that's the foundation. Yeah. And so by day two, I was just really getting in tune with the rhythm of nature. I mean, no cell phone service, barely any people around. Like there's a few campsites in the distance, but not too many people around. And then, so day three, I'm so in tune with the rhythm of nature. Like I would wake up in the morning, it would still be dark out. I'd just go sit outside and I'd feel the night energy around me. And then, like, the moment the sun came over the mountains, like it would shift to day energy. I was like, wow, like, nature's amazing. This is beautiful. Lying underneath the stars, night three, and just focusing on my breath And no longer was it the stars that were in my focus, it was the darkness between the stars that popped out and came closer and closer as I just stayed present and merged with my energy. And it just felt like warmth and peace. And the next day, I just felt like joy,
Mm.
like a kid. Like I hadn't remembered feeling that level of just joy and happiness in being since I was a child.
Yeah.
Just being really in tune with energy and the simplicity of it all.
Yeah, that's some powerful stuff, brother.
Yeah, and should I keep it rolling?
So I want to ask this. And yes, absolutely keep it rolling, but I want to ask this. You mentioned being to a point where we got the drinking, right, where the darkness is seeping in, right? The darkness is it's there, it's all around you. And TJ, so many people that are going to watch this, so many people, the ones that aren't even going to watch this, right? We experience that all the time, to the point where we are almost just saturated with it. To be at the edge, been there, to be at the edge where you don't know. I mean, do I stay? Do I take the AR-15 and do I go? Is this it for me? What made you decide to put down the gun?
Underneath all of it, it feels like hope. And then coming up a little bit from that, I don't know if I would have done it. I think I just wanted to feel in control.
That answer, man, that is probably, I would say, the most honest answer that I have ever heard. And I would be right there along with you. When I was in a place can like that, um, I don't even think I think I would have been I don't want to say a coward, but I think that I was just like, I don't know, I wouldn't have fallen through. I just wanted to be in control. It was about me. I wanted it to be about me because I was going through this darkness. It's about me. It's almost to the point where you could tip it to a state of internal selfishness. Now, I'm not saying that that getting depressed and having outside influence that leads people to that, that is not that's not real, because it's real. On in my case, it was something something different. And it sounds like in your case it was somewhat similar, and that hope, and then that just your statement about hope rings true, right? Because underneath it all, there is always something, there's always something that can bring us back to a point of feeling somewhat restored and somewhat safe. And then we build upon that. To your point earlier, the running, the foundation. TJ, it's pretty impressive, and it's eye opening to hear an individual that's gone through a lot of that's gone through everything that you've gone through, and gone, you know what, I gotta break this down. Like, I have got to, something's missing here, and I don't know what it is. So instead of trying to create this massive problem with a bunch of equations where I'm trying to move stuff around, you know what, right now I've got some chaos up here and I need to just slow that shit down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a foundation. What's simple? What can I do that I'm in control of, that I can navigate very easily, that can set me on a simple path forward to start with? How about I fucking run? Sounds like a plan. I know I can do that. One foot in front of the other. I have a destination. I just have to move. It's that simple. Now I'll go. Can I be consistent in this foundation? Sure as hell can. I just have to get up and choose to put, once again, one foot in front of the other and go. Then it starts to become repetitive. Once it becomes repetitive like that, then it's second nature. Once it's second nature, then that foundation seems absolutely solid. Once that feels solid, let's add another layer.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll this is your spiel. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent.
No, that's beautiful, man.
Got
That,
excited.
I'm excited too because those layers, right? And me, like that base foundation, we build it, we strengthen it, and we know the roots have to grow deep to go up. As
Yeah.
they go up, we break through glass ceilings, upper limits, and on the other side of each upper limit, we don't know what's there. That's why the fear will always be there. Yet we always have the strength to overcome that fear.
Mm,
Always. Yet
absolutely.
I didn't know that. I didn't know I had the ability to overcome the fear of what other people thought of me, the fear of being rejected because of things from deep in my childhood, divorced parents, grown up in a single parent household, fearing that if other people didn't accept me, then I would be rejected. And that was like, that struck right at the core of my being, my survival.
Yeah. It's amazing it's amazing the feeling that we get when that clicks. When we go, you know what? Fear is self-made. Fear is self-made. I'm making what I'm afraid of. That's me. I'm making that fear. Like no lie, I hate snakes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
terrified of snakes. Why? The Bible says they're bad. I mean, that could be it. They're slimy and they squiggle and they just look well, right? I mean, but really, the majority of the snakes around here I mean, they're going to bother me. They can't hurt me. So why am I afraid of them?
Were you told
What?
at some point to be
What?
afraid of snakes? Were you told at some point to be afraid of snakes?
I was told snakes are bad, right? The serpent and Adam and Eve, the Bible, hey, they're bad, bad,
Right.
right? And they're not, they're fine, but I'm still have that fear. What about fear of the dark, right? As a kid, hey, things go bump in the night. Not only don't things go bump in the day too, right? It doesn't matter. Fear is self-made. Now, don't get me
Yes.
wrong. There are things we probably should be a little bit afraid of or should be afraid of. But for the most part, the things that we, especially when it comes to growth, the what if game, right? Uh, if I do this, I really want to go after my goal. But if I do this, there's a good chance somebody might make fun of me. I'm afraid of that. I don't want anybody. So, I mean, I really want this goal, but I don't want people to make fun of me because I just want people to like me. I don't want people to make fun. I don't know if I can take it. So, what if they do? So, I'm just not going to. I'm going to stay right here. Just going to mediocrity, right? I'm not going to go after what I really want to because I'm afraid of the what ifs. And that fear starts to creep in. And once that fear takes hold, it can just snowball. And then you're 67 going, huh, I'm still here and I haven't done shit. So when we think about moving forward, right? You talked about, your progression. What is TJ, when you look at your future, actually, let's not the future. When you look at your present right now, what are you up to? Like, what's going on in your world, and how are you interacting with others? And what kind of message are you putting out there?
Great question. So I'm focused on staying as present as possible. Simple, right?
Oh
Presence
yeah,
coach. Oh, of course it's trying to stay present. Yet it's simple, yet challenging because it's accepting my emotions in
nice.
each moment. It's feeling my emotions. And that's what this healing journey has been, is
Yeah,
allowing myself to feel, no longer escaping the feelings that came from thoughts that scared me. right? Like
Mm.
I'd have an uncomfortable feeling, then I'd go drink, go have a six pack, go get McDonald's, binge Netflix, anything to escape that discomfort. And I didn't even realize I was locked in those patterns. Yet as I'm going through this healing journey, running, breath work, psychedelics, cold plunging, just being here in the feeling, letting myself feel. So every day I'm focused on using the tools that I know that keep me here, accepting it when I feel those painful emotions, when have those dark thoughts about war and what I trained to do for 8 years.
Mm.
That is just as much a part of me as the joy and the beauty that I see in the world. On the beach earlier today, right before this call, I got in the ocean again just to like settle it. Like, and the sunset was beautiful. The mountains are beautiful. Human connection like this is beautiful. It's magic. Yet I wouldn't be open to this connection with you if I didn't also acknowledge the negative feelings when they come. And it's staying present and it's being real, fully expressed as much as possible in the depths of my own shadow,
Mm.
in the beauty that I see despite the shadow, that I see through the shadow. And I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here. I will come back
All you, brother.
because that underlying hope that kept me here, perhaps, I think is aligned with the underlying love of just existing, the
Yeah.
underlying love of being here, even though there's darkness and pain and conflict and COVID and all these negative things in the world, the southern border, like all these things that are on the news that cause anger, fear, even though all those things exist, beauty exists in equal measure. And all of it is here and it creates, it allows for creation. And the canvas of all of that is love. The canvas
Wow.
of all that creation, as I see it, is love. So that's how I can look back at my memories of training for war and going to war and what I used to watch because I thought I had to prepare for the most brutal things in the world. I see it. I still see it. Yet I see the love in those scenes.
Mm.
So it's communicating all of that to connect with people who it may resonate with,
Okay.
who may, especially veterans. It's like, yeah, our minds can go to some dark places. Because our minds can go to such dark places, perhaps they can go to equal parts places beauty. And it's a choice. I didn't know it was a choice. We can make that choice to see the beauty. And so that's the mission. It's connecting. Yeah, let's walk this path together. I don't know the journey that you're on, but I do know it's probably a dark forest. And I got a lantern. So let's walk.
I hope, man, I'm already writing a story in my head. I'm not going to write it, but I'm already writing a story in my head about you, the forest and the lantern. I hope you write that. I hope you write that story because that's your narrative to write. I think TJ, I think, when we talk about what's mind blowing to me out of everything that you've said was it actually just happened. What I'm going to take away from this tonight is the comment, you know, we can go to a dark place. Our minds can go and talking about veterans, talking about, those that have served. And by the way, thank you for your service. You know, going to that dark place, we are just as likely if we make the choice to go to the place of love. We don't have to lose, and we don't have to lose ourselves in the dark. We can go to that place of light. And veterans, just civilians alike, anybody, it's just simply a choice. And I'll tell you, I'm 42 years old, brother, and man, I the last couple of years have been a time of self-awareness and really diving down and digging down into who Trevor Martin is and what I want to represent in this world and what purpose I should strive for. And the purpose, and you're right on that path, should always be something greater than self. And I have not lived a life like that. The majority of my life has been a life lived specifically for self. Me, Trevor Martin, I'm the show. And TJ, I don't care about you. I don't care about anybody around me because I want to benefit. So if I do know you, the only reason why we're talking is because I'm going to figure out a way for you to benefit me, whether that's money, whether that's, I don't know, maybe you got something I want, I need. It's always been about me. Not always. I'm just saying, like in the past, I'm working on being better. You know, so to hear about your journey and you finding your place on the path in the forest with the lantern, saying, "Hey, look, lantern's right here. The light's right here. Come one, come all. I got you. Gather around and let's move forward." And I bet you, if I'm a betting man, brother, y'all are going to go through that forest. You're going to come to some kind of clearing, and it's just going to be peaceful from there. I really, TJ, I cannot thank you enough for opening up and talking about the things that you have been through, talking about your present, and as you look forward towards the future, because that is not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to peel back the layers and say, "Hey, here's a piece of me. This is who I am, and I'm getting extremely real with you." So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because I understand that that takes a certain amount of strength to be able to do. So thank you for that. I really, really mean it. As we wrap up here, is there anything that you want the audience to know about you? Is there how can you let us know how we can get a hold of you, especially those that are looking for that lantern in the forest?
Absolutely. So TJ Beaudette on LinkedIn, Holy Human on Instagram. That's WHOLLY.human. And yeah, so those two, follow me and I'll follow you back. And that's it. Just living, spreading the message. And also, Trevor, you're the man. You're the man. You're leading the way. You're leading the way out there. And you bring a ton of light to my feed and my life all the time. So I know you're there, and it's all love, brother.
Hey man, it's all love right back, and I really, really appreciate that. I really, really do. And I would say that um the reason why I am the way I am and the reason why I write and present the way I do on LinkedIn is because of people like you. That is that, you talk about the lantern in the forest. That's y'all are the lantern in the forest for me. And I need that. I need that.
Yes.
That's a need. I need it.
We need each other. And that's
Oh,
the beauty of all 8 billion people in the world. And we're all little puzzle pieces that we need to heal and step into our creativity and share it with others. And that's the beauty. That's how we figure this thing out. That's how
right
we
on,
figure out
man.
the unknowable. And we just love this experience for what it is.
Hey, there you go, brother. Hey,
Yes.
for those of you tuning in, I really, really appreciate it. Once again, we've been talking with TJ Beaudette. I'm Trevor Martin from RMF Coaching. You can find me obviously on LinkedIn, and I will be dropping this I will be dropping a link on LinkedIn for this. But this will be going right to my YouTube channel. So please make sure that you hit subscribe so you can see more of the Warriors Way coming soon. So TJ, thank you very, very much for tonight, audience. We'll see you out there.